Hello everyone, my name is Layo Charles Emmanuel and I'm here on set today with Pastor Sunday Adelaja for an author review on his latest book that has just been released, Nigeria and the Leadership Question. Now, many of you know Pastor as many different things, but for the purpose of this interview, I'm going to introduce him as one of the foremost pastors in Ukraine, in Europe, and the world at large. Also, he's a renowned national transformational expert as well as a best-selling author of the book Judgeship. Hello, Pastor. How do you do, sir?
Thank you, Layo. I'm fine. I'm okay. It's nice to have you here. Layo came here especially for this interview,
Yes,
so I want to appreciate her. It's our own idea, and I think that the interview will be a blessing to many people.
Yes,
And thank you for being bold enough to propose to do this. I hope many people will appreciate it and they will thank you for it.
Well, thank you so dearly, Pastor. It's an honor to be on set with you, sir.
No problem.
All right, sir. So recently, I had the great privilege to read your book, Nigeria, the Leadership Question. And I must be frank with you, Pastor. When I picked up that book, I actually picked it up with a goodness of silencing, not because I don't trust in the power of the words you put down there, but because like every other Nigerian, I've lost hope in Nigeria, seeing its multitude of compound, complex problems. But interestingly, when I was just at the introduction of the book, I think around the 27th page or about, I was already beginning to get drawn in, by the hope you seem to project with the book, the positivity, the positive vibes and everything just caught me right from the 27th page. So, Pastor, I want to ask you, what inspired you to write this book and why now?
It was about a year ago, I think, when I began to have some burden for Nigeria as a nation. Before then, I had lived in Europe for 30 years,
Sure.
and I never thought I would ever go back to Nigeria. As a matter of fact, I had made some very critical decisions that if some political force, political powers were to remain in Nigeria to rule in the country, that I would never even go there to visit anymore.
Wow.
And I would take all my relatives and everybody away from there, that we would never go back there again. I was going to change my passport if that happened, but thank God, it was like God was listening to me. I have more faith in the government of the day and the change that happened. And it was during the election that I started thinking that I just was surprised that I know so much. And because when I read what people say in Nigeria and the leaders, the political elite, and just ordinary people who write about the country, when I read what they say and when I listen to their opinions, I know that I know better. I know what it takes to be able to, fix a lot of these things these people are talking about. And I see that, a lot of the things I know are not being totally expressed the way I could have done. So I began, that was why, in fact, I even wanted my friends to do what I ended up doing. I called a few friends and told them, you write articles, do something about Nigeria because you are based there, you live in their country. So won't you consider to, write the position of Christians, positions of, then I discovered that all of the people I was calling, most of them were against my opinion actually. Most of them were for the previous government. And so they were, most Christians really. And so it was just the opposite. No one was ready to do what I was asking them to do. So then I had to do it. I had to remember my profession and my training as a journalist. So I started first by writing articles. So and unfortunately, some of those articles were political. So I started writing about the coming election in Nigeria because that was the quest and the need of the day. But after writing all those articles, many people started telling me that why don't you put them in books? Why don't you put them in books? But in this book, it's not a result of that. It's not what I wrote about in the articles. But I just decided that I will start with not the articles, or not putting the article just once into a book, but I will try to address the most the most critical question, as Nigerians say, the leadership question of the land. That's what, since I was a child, everybody always talk about leadership as the biggest problem of Nigeria. So I decided to share my own opinion about it. So that's why I decided to write this book, because I know that we are mistaken. The whole country is mistaken by saying our problem is just in leadership. But I know that Nigeria's problem is not in leadership. Leadership is secondary. But leadership is also one of our main problems, but not the main problem. We have a problem that is greater than that. But it will be difficult for people to believe that until they read this book.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very true. And so, Pastor, thank you so very much. I now understand now. But then you said you started writing articles, and I remember then, Pastor, how were you able to gather the boldness and the courage to delve into Nigeria's politics, even though it was just articles?
Yes, many people were actually writing me and say, Pastor, don't dabble into Nigerian politics, leave politics alone, because that is the way it is accepted in our society.
Yes,
that is the way people see it. And they say, oh, don't spoil your name.
Yeah, Pastor.
Yeah, Pastor, stay in the pulpit, mind your business. Politics is going to spoil. You don't know Nigeria, don't spoil your reputation.
Yes, sir.
But they don't know that if I begin to do like them, staying away from politics, I will just be like all other ministers they already have. So then I will not be bringing anything new. I will just be like all of them. And if you keep on doing the same thing you have always done, you will always have the same results. So nothing will change in Nigeria once we hold on to that, because we have done that all these years and nothing has changed. So if you want to change Nigeria, somebody has to stand out and come out of that stereotype. And maybe we have to begin to rather get pastors and every Christian to politics. Let's do that at least for 20 years and see what will happen. At least we have done the other one for 50 years and nothing has happened. Yes, so I know what I'm doing, and I know that this thing I'm doing is not wrong, and that I am a voice of God in every sphere of life, not just in politics, but in every sphere of life. I am a representative of God. I am a servant of God. And as a servant, I must represent Him everywhere He needs to be. Since God is the creator of everything, including politics, God cannot be excluded from everything He created or from anything He created. And if He is the one who created it, and I am His voice there, I'm His hand, I'm His representative on the earth, I'm His servant on the earth, I must go represent Him everywhere He needs to be. If politics is dirty, somebody needs to clean it up. And the only way to clean it up is by going there. And who can better clean it up but God? And God will not go there by sending angels. He will send somebody. I am a man. I am a servant. I must go to represent Him where He deserves to be.
So viewers, that's Pastor Sunday Adelaja for you. It taught with so much convictions, and you cannot just but get, caught up by his words. Okay, so Pastor, why did you choose the title Nigeria in a Leadership Question? Why that title?
Because it is like an epidemic in Nigeria. Leadership is our problem. Oh, we don't have any problem. Nigeria has everything. We are a great country, if not for leadership. That's what everybody has been saying.
Yes,
but it's not true. So I'm using this book to prove to them that leadership is not our problem.
And you did prove it, sir. Totally, honestly, you did.
Because it's just one of our problems, but it's not the main problem. So in this book, I'm proving to them that it's not true also that we have not been having good leaders. It's not true that we never had good leaders. I proved there that we had good leaders.
Yes,
there were good leaders that their terms in office were truncated, but there were also good leaders that were not sustained. That legacies were not sustained. So, but there were good leaders in the country. And people will say, oh, we never had good leaders apart from Mauritania. No, we've had great leaders. Read this book, you'll find them out.
Yes, sir.
And also, but even when we have good leaders, we still have the same problem we're having now. Even when after they left, we still have the same problem. Even before then, we still had problems. Before the good leaders came, we had problems. During the bad leaders, we had problems. During civilian leaders, we had problems. During military leaders, we had problems. For 50 years, we will always have problems. So maybe we should reconsider our line of thinking that only leadership is our problem.
Yes,
and that leadership is our main problem. So that is at the core of every Nigerian's belief system. The paradigm of every Nigerian is that leadership is a problem. There is no Nigerian under the surface of the earth that doesn't know that phrase. That leadership is our problem.
Yes, sir.
And that is why I'm starting with that.
Thank you so much, Pastor. All right, so another question I have for you, sir. There's a widespread notion, of course, we just addressed that leadership is our biggest problem in Nigeria. But you did state in this book that leadership is not the biggest problem, it's one of the problems, but you said the biggest problem is our value system and beliefs. We have warped and warped value systems. All right, so you also say that until we change the value system of the populace and the masses, we would always have bad leaders and corrupt politicians. I remember you described it in this book, like you said, Nigeria is like having a pot that is corrupt, a pot that is filthy, and a pot that is dirty. You said anything that comes out of that pot will definitely be filthy, corrupt, and dirty. So why are we shouting on our leaders and saying they are bad and everything? Because that's the way the environment is. So my question is, how can we go about changing the value system of the populace and the masses? We all grew up in this decadence, we grew up in the midst of this corruption. So how do we suddenly change our value system overnight? Or do we have to wait for a leader like Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore? Or do we just take it upon ourselves and say we are changing? How do we change our value system, sir?
Okay. I'm going to write another book on value systems.
Good.
I'm going to write another book called National Greatness.
Wow.
What makes nations great?
Wow.
Because nations are not great by the virtue of their
by the wealth,
by the virtue of their wealth, right?
Yes,
Nations are not great by the virtue of their wealth, but they are great by the greatness of their virtues. You know, by the virtue of their greatness, of their virtues, of their.
They are not great by
the virtue of their
wealth, by the wealth of their virtues.
That's what I said in the book. And I'm going to write a whole book on that. That nations are not great by the virtue of their wealth, but by the wealth of their virtues. So nations are not great by the virtues of their wealth or their potential or their mineral resources, but they are great by the wealth of their virtues. Okay, so how do we change the virtues of our country, the value system of our country? So I didn't write that here in this book. I'm going to write that. I just made the point here in this book for people to know that is where we should be concentrating on. Value system and how to change it and how to change the value system and the values. But how do we change it? I'm going to give you the gist. I've just a little bit mentioned here, but I'm going to give you the main gist that will be in my next book.
Yes, sir.
And the gist is that value systems are developed from 4 basic institutions. The very root of value system is the value system that we have. Your value system or my value system come from 4 basic places. One, they come from the family. Your value systems were imparted to you, inculcated into you, from your childhood, from where you were a child, from your family. That's one place where value system come from. 2, where value system come from. Value system come from the pulpit of the land. Pulpit from church or mosque. Pulpit. It could be from church or from church pulpit or mosque pulpit. Comes from the religion.
Right.
Number 3, where value system come from. Value system comes from the educational system of any country. What are the things that we are taught in schools? Primary school, kindergarten, university, colleges. They form who we are. Campuses form a lot of people.
Yes, sir.
So, educational system. If there are no value systems there, deflated in citizens and populations, what you have. Number 4, value systems are formed by the media of the land. Those are the main four main institutions where value system come from. Now, if any country will make the mistake of letting those 4 institutions just do anything they want.
They become
They
a
live a
product.
chaotic society. In the family, they tell you this, the school tells you this, the church tells you this, the media tells you another thing. That is just the whole mess we have in Nigeria right now. And the role of the government is to monitor
Wow.
and to give direction to the value system that must be taught through educational system, through churches, through families, and through media. But of course, you cannot directly, tell every family what they're supposed to teach or what their value system is. But the church, the government has the authority to use the educational system to form exactly what value system they want for their people, just like China does, or just like America uses media, Hollywood, to form their own culture and their own value system, and the whole world is imbibing American value system because they have commission, they have people who are intentionally bringing principles and certain American values and virtues in those film industry. And the same thing with everything they do. So every country that is supposed to be great must monitor what they feed the people with through their media, what they feed the people with through their educational system, what they feed the people with through their pulpits, and what they feed the people with in their homes, morally speaking, and in terms of virtues. That is how we are going to. Then another. Okay, you go ahead. Yeah, that's enough.
So, Pastor, we can actually change our value systems in Nigeria now.
Now we can do it easy.
We can.
Easy. But nobody just knows how to do it. They don't even know where to start. That's where I'm going. I know exactly what to do.
It's actually looking awesome big to me. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you so very much, Pastor. All right, some people have said that the best form of government for Nigeria is militarism. Some have said it's communism. Some protagonists even advocate the idea they call mini democracy. This is the first time I'm coming across that word, mini democracy. I don't know. All right, so Pastor, why do you maintain that democracy is the best form of government for Nigeria, even though you cited that there are other nations where communism is being practiced, for example, and they are prosperous?
Yes. Yeah, communism, democracy, there is no doubt. Through history, we have seen communism, even though they are more prosperous than Nigeria, people who lived in communism in Russia, for example, or Ukraine here, or Cuba, or other places. But that doesn't mean that it's still the best. If you look at other countries like that have practiced democracy for long, like United States, England, Western Europe, and things like that, you see that democracy has proven itself as the best. But we must only use it considering the peculiarities of Nigeria. But when I also talk about democracy, I'm talking about the power of the people.
Yes.
And even what I said now about what I had said earlier about value systems, even if the value system, the government is not ready to champion the cause, that is the advantage in democracy. The people themselves, through different enterprises, non-governmental organizations, pressure groups, could actually champion the cause of imposing and establishing the right value system in all those four institutions that I spoke about. So people, if they would know and be aware of their rights and their authority and their responsibilities, then they could actually go and put the right value system in their own country. Like, for example, I'm going back to Nigeria. I'm not going to go into politics. I hope I'm not going to go into politics. I don't plan to. But I will use the people power to force the government to behave, and also to force the right value system upon our country.
Thank you so very much. One of the things you said in the book that really stood out to me was when you said you're going to Nigeria and you're planning to do something for every single state in Nigeria. And you said it's your hope that when you raise up their hands, they will go into the other African nations to lift their heads up. So, my goodness, what a vision.
Yes, I'm going to touch every state in Nigeria. I'm not just going to touch every state in Nigeria. I'm going to touch every local government in Nigeria.
Wow.
Everybody in Nigeria will feel it when I arrive in Nigeria. You wait. In the next 5 years after I arrive, 10 years, every local government will be rejoicing that this person came back home.
Pastor, we have no doubt. I have no doubt.
You have no doubt because you are in Ukraine. You have seen my work. But people who are in Nigeria, I'm sure, or people who are in Europe, I'm sure people are just laughing. But they don't know what is about to hit them. They don't know what's about to hit their country.
Pastor, anybody that gets a hold of this book, they might not have had any contact with you all along, but getting a hold of this book, they will believe you too, sir.
Okay.
Honestly, yes. It pulsates with the same energy you are talking with. Yes, Pastor. Yes.
Is this my first book you are reading?
Sir?
Is this my first book you read?
No, but Pastor, Nigeria is a different case on its own. Nigeria is a different case on its own, sir. Okay. I have so many. One of my favorites is Pastor Without Tears. It's a serious matter, Pastor. That book. Yeah. So, sir, you quoted President Obama saying that Africa doesn't need strong leaders, but strong institutions. So, how can we build strong institutions in Nigeria now, or how can we empower the ones we already have, ICPC, EFCC, because we know what they are doing today?
There could be an algorithm or a formula for that.
Okay.
We need to find technocrats, people who are good in what they do, people who are the best in the particular sphere and the particular area. We need to bring them from all over the world.
Yes, sir.
And then we need to give them the free hand to set up a system in their parastatals or in their ministries or their agencies and give them the agenda that their assignment is to build an institution comparable to anywhere in the world, and that they must form in that they must build a whole system that will be self-sustaining and have due process in all those institutions, and that if they don't give them a time frame, if they don't finish doing it, and then we set up an international monetary organization that is supposed to monitor their work. Every year we'll see what they've done. Are they up to the world standard and to the international standard or not? Then that is how we put them, and then we'll remove them or put them there until they build and structure that and put people in place and everything.
Pastor, you've done your homework well, sir. Well done, sir. All right, sir. I want to read a paragraph that stood out to me. He said, it's time the Nigerian people realize that the real power, the power to make or mar any government, the power to build or pull down any government is theirs. It's in their hands. The masses must demand transparency and equity from the political class. The truth is that those in political offices are employees employed by the Nigerian people to do the job of moving the nation forward. I'm sure I can say many Nigerians have not thought about it like this. You said the truth is that those in political offices are employees employed by the Nigerian people to do the job of moving the nation forward. We never knew. So the question, Pastor, is how can the masses demand transparency and equity from the political class since we employ them and put them there to do a good job?
That is the work of non-governmental organizations.
Okay.
And that is the work of active citizenship.
Okay.
We must get the citizens to know that they, first of all, we must enlighten them.
Okay.
We must put it out there in the world and make every citizen to know that government workers and officials and even politicians are their servants and their slaves.
Yes, sir.
And we must demand that from them, that we put them there. Yes. And if they are not going to behave the way we want, we are not the ones worshipping them. The way it is now in Nigeria is that citizens are the ones worshipping political leaders, yes, whereas they are our servants. The word minister means servant. Minister means servant. And when you say prime minister, it means the head, the chief servant. The higher they go, the more slave they become. That's where it's supposed to be. But in our own place, now politicians are a class on its own,
yes,
a privileged class on their own.
Yes,
we need to change that. And if we can only change that by our own awareness. So we bring, first of all, awareness to people. Secondly, we make people to form pressure groups that are going to be monitoring what politicians do. And we are supposed to be using modern technology, cameras, photographs, and be shooting them and tell everybody to report. And we'll be doing public debates, and we'll be doing Times Square meetings where we are bringing issues out of what people are not doing that are supposed to be doing it. And then we'll be coming to the television every day to expose politicians who are not doing their job. Either there will people will either go to politics to perform or they'll be running away from it.
Yes, sir.
You cannot kill all of us.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Pastor. Thank you. Another thing is this, you said that the Declaration of Righteousness, okay, before we get to this, I thought we were actually practicing democracy in Nigeria, but when I read this book, what we have is maybe a form of democracy, but it's not. Honestly, sir, I that's why I said to myself, but I thought we were practicing democracy, but you revealed that it's not democracy we are practicing. In fact, it's far from it. So you said that the Declaration of Righteousness exalts a nation, but sends a reproach to any people, carries in it a profound truth that you believe any nation seeking exhortation should consider diligently. Pastor, our society has been badly traumatized by the wickedness and everything. So how can we bring God back into the affairs of our nation? How can we uphold righteousness in Nigeria?
First of all, we need to change the messages that come out of our pulpits. We need to stop telling people, for people to know that, telling people that church is just a way of them making a better living for themselves, or improving their own standard of living, or getting miracles. We need to return the church to a place whereby we know that church is first of all a place where they form your character, where they form your personality, and where you become who God wants you to be, where you become the image and likeness of God. So if we could change the messages that are coming from the pulpit, then because 40% of Nigerians are going to church, are sitting in one church or the other every day, at least every week. So, and then the same thing with the mosque. If we could change the messages coming from the church and from our mosque, then because we are a subtotal of the information we hear and we imbibe in ourselves. So if we change the information that is coming in, that people are feeding themselves in, we change the whole country.
But sir, that's a hard nut to crack. How do we
thank God for social media, and thank God for book and for television, and thank God for just in the social networks and just information. The most important thing is to be able to get information out.
Okay.
I will be able to do that.
All right, sir. Okay, so when I first saw the title of the book, I thought it was for political leaders and those in the corridors of power. So, Pastor, please do tell us, who is the book for?
Nigeria and the leadership question is for everybody. The core of this message is that Nigerian problem is not just about leadership. And if it's even we are going to talk about leadership, we are not going to talk about political leaders and the top echelon of political power. Everybody could be a leader. Every Nigerian should take the leadership responsibility for his own country to change what he doesn't like, to change the value system in the area or sphere of life he doesn't like.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, sir, just before we round up, why do you think this book is important to Nigeria and our citizens?
I think because it will wake Nigerians up to believe in Nigeria and to believe in themselves and to believe that Nigeria could be great again. If we all do what we need to do, Nigeria will be great again, and Nigeria is going to be great again, even if nobody else will do it. There are some people whose names I raised here as an example. And many others. Yes. So all those people there are more people who are getting this awareness that it is us, it is we who take the power, who have the power to change Nigeria, not the government. Forget about government. We are going to arise, and I'm going to join them soon. And when I get there, either anybody like it or not, Nigeria is going to change for the better.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Okay, over the past years, we have had several authors write about Nigeria. Chinua Achebe wrote The Trouble About Nigeria. Stephen Wright wrote on Nigeria's struggle and Nigeria's struggle for stability and status. Karl Mayer wrote This House is Falling, Midnight in Nigeria. What makes Nigeria in the leadership question different from all these other books?
Some of those books are always talking about the problems.
Yes, sir.
But not too many of them profile solutions.
Yes, sir.
And that's why this one is about profiling. Actually, the real name of the book is Profiling Solution to Nigeria's Leadership Problem.
Yes, sir.
It's about solution, not about problem.
Yes, sir. And it doesn't just profess solutions to me. It gives the guidelines, the route, the exact route. It's hands down. It's practical. What you wrote there. Thank you, Pastor. So where can people get the book, especially for those in Nigeria?
Yes, this book right now is being released first of all worldwide.
Okay.
For those people who have access to Amazon.com,
Okay.
so they can get it. But for those in Nigeria, they need to wait for another 1 month because I'm going to print them here, this book here, and ship to Nigeria just to guarantee the quality.
Yes, sir.
And then it's going to be in distribution throughout Nigeria, in bookstores and with sellers, you know, and everywhere over there. And then we're also going to try to do it maybe within this month, maybe next week, or you know, in a few days to put it on Nigerian platform, websites,
maybe like hunger.com.
Yes,
Okay.
and other websites that are there. So you know, so that might be possible for Nigerians to use to buy it as well.
All right, thank you very much, Pastor. And also, Pastor, for those who read this book and want to take it further, maybe they want to learn more from you, or they want to join your transformation plan for Nigeria, how can they connect with you?
Yes, I have a team that I'm putting together now that's called Nigeria Transformation.
Okay.
And so they could write to Nigeria at sundayadelajahfoundation.com.
Okay.
Nigeria at sundayadelajahfoundation.com.
Okay. All right, thank you, Pastor. So, Pastor, do you have any final concluding words for Nigerians and
Yes.
the viewers?
Yes, definitely. It doesn't matter what people are saying about Nigeria now, and it doesn't matter how bad it gets. I believe in God, and I've witnessed a transformation of a nation. The nation I'm living in, Ukraine.
Yes,
I've seen my role in it. I have a role as well to play in the transformation of Nigeria. People are thinking, those people who are thinking that I'm coming to Nigeria to start a church and to just begin to do the same thing that churches are doing and pastors are doing, they are mistaken.
Yes.
This is a new wine. You're coming with a new wine skin. So this is going to be totally different. I'm not about church. I'm about the kingdom of God. The kingdom is greater than the church. So I'm bringing and to introduce to Nigeria the gospel of the kingdom. And when I come, I guarantee, and you might remind me, and I'm saying this into camera, in the next 10 years, nobody will recognize Nigeria. Not just because of the government, but because of what I, with God, will do. And somebody will say, but what about others that are there? This is too much, this is too pompous. No, it's just because I know what I know. I know what God has spoken to me. I know what I know, the strategies I know that I've put in place. And I know the result I've already created in other circumstances. And I know the result I'm going to be able to create in Nigeria. If by the grace of God I'm going to be alive and healthy, I'm not going to die, but I'm going to be on my feet and healthy, Nigeria is going to be a destination and a pride to every black person, not just to every Nigerian. So if you're a Nigerian or you're of a Nigerian descent, I would say don't be in a hurry to throw away your passport because you are going to need it. You are going to be inviting a lot of people back home. You are going to be proud of your country. Very, very soon, everybody, every country will be talking about Nigeria. And because I know exactly, not just how to know that I believe in it, I know how to do it. I don't just believe in God. I've been taught how to do it. I've spent 30 years here to just learn how to do it. And I've learned how to do it, and I'm going back home to implement it.
Wow.
That's why I believe in this book. That's why I wrote this book. And that's why I didn't just write it. I'm going to work it out. And I'm taking 200 people from here to go with me. 200 Europeans leaving their families, living their lifestyle, uprooting themselves from Europe to go to build my country, just like I've done, building their own country. And I'm going to have 2,000 people from all over the world, from Australia, from America, from Canada, from England, from Japan, from Scandinavia, from Germany, from France, from Latin America, everywhere. People are going to go with me to build that country. So I don't doubt that Nigeria's brightest days are just ahead of her right now.
Wow. There you have it, viewers. An exclusive one-on-one interview with Pastor Sunday Adelaja of the God Embassy Church in Ukraine right here. It's been so explosive. I'm sure you agree with me. So make sure you get a copy of this book for yourself today. Don't just get for yourself. Get for your friends. Get for your family members. Wives, get for your husband. Husbands, get for your wives. And parents, get for every one of your children who is of a reading age. I absolutely believe that this book should be in the hands of every Nigerian child who can read. This is the transformation we need in our nation. This is the revolutionary tool we need in the country. I believe in the power of the words that are written therein, and I'm sure you've heard for yourself. The truths are in gold, the truths are golden, the wisdom is ingenious, and the principles are invaluable. Thank you so very much for joining us today. Until I come your way again, bye for now.